What do you do when you love the AE1 and the AE2, but you want them to be a little cheaper? I guess this works. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look, breakdown, and performance review on the Adidas Believe That Once, which I guess means that there's going to be more. Like, this is going to be an ongoing series. That's pretty cool. Just in case you were wondering, this is the box for a takedown shoe or a subline to get like all of this. Pretty dope. It's not much different than something like the Giannis Immortality line, which we just covered. It's just nice to see that Adidas is kind of like hopping on that wagon too.
I concur.
Before we get started, this shirt is available currently over at senseapparel.com. They are shipping now. Quantities are limited. They're getting very low. So if you were interested in grabbing one, I would do so now before it's too late. They do run small, so go up a size. And that's one of the best ways to help support this channel outside of the usual: liking, commenting, subscribing, watching, all the way through. So I thank you guys for everybody that has purchased a shirt or a hoodie or anything else on the site, because there's some dope stuff over there. Now, with that being said, Adidas and Anthony Edwards have come together to bring you a more affordable version of his signature line, even though a lot of people can argue, especially right now, that a lot of these things are to be found on sale, on clearance, at Ross, at discount stores, outlets, and all that stuff, which is true. However, some people don't have those options, and that's where something like this comes into play. And even if they did have those options, some people might not even know about those options, which is why you should point them to a channel just like this, so we can gain that 1 million that you guys keep talking to us about. Now, first things first, let's go ahead and get the weight out of the way, just because in hand I can feel that they are drastically lighter than both of the other two models. So we've got 17.8 ounces for the AE1. We drop things a little bit, going 15.5 ounces for the AE2s. And we drop things even more by going to 13.65 for the Believe That Once. Now, as far as the shoes are concerned, I think that this is pretty awesome, to be perfectly blunt. I love takedown models, but that's mostly because that is what I was able to afford as a youngster. So something like this is just, I think, awesome. And I do believe wholeheartedly that for the most part, takedowns today are slightly better than some of the takedowns of my era, with the few exceptions like some of the Nike basketball stuff. And even then it would be the higher end takedowns, because there were levels to their takedowns. There was like the main model, then there was a takedown, and then sometimes there was a takedown of the takedown, which was even cheaper. In my case, something like the Air Jordan line, where I couldn't afford the main flagship, but I was able to save up for the Jumpman Pros, which just so happened to have the same exact tech as the main flagship shoe, so that was probably the most bang for my buck shoe I've ever purchased. These are a little bit different than that. They don't have any of the stuff that the original models do have in terms of overall cushion, and even the support's a little bit different too, but the design is perfect because they don't feel like that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't feel like they are lacking much of anything. And the best part is that they clearly are like pulling design language. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at that.
Can I comment on that real quick?
Sure.
The fact,
on design language?
more so the color scheme.
You don't like it?
No, I don't like it. I'm just more impressed that they've managed to be like double down on it and carry it as their coming out shoe every single time.
That's the funny part about this one, is that unlike the main shoes, where they drop like in a colorway, they were available in multiple colorways right out the gate. Yeah, these are just what I chose because they'll pick up on camera better, like the little features. But like I said, it like really lends itself well to what they've been doing, like the through line. It's perfect. This is the consistency stuff that I talk about with other brands and other companies and their lines, where it's just like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like with the D Rose stuff, we used to be able to count on the Brendas. Like, there were colorways, kind of like the Jordans.
It's like the KDs and the Pearl.
Yes. Okay. Like there's always like the one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so LeBron, same things. Like, used to always get like the Hornets or the St. Vincent St. Mary. And then there was like Curry with his stuff with like, they had a similar Hornets vibe, but it was for like the father to son, and the Davidsons, and there was colors, you know what I mean? And like, you can be like, oh, I can't wait for my favorite of whatever the shoe is representing to come out. And that's what this is. And I think that this is sick. So whether you like this or not, doesn't matter. It's that this is for somebody. That's the coolest part, is that like, there's already a Timberwolves version or colorway.
Oh, I can picture
the all whites. Yeah, like, it's dope. The all black ones, it's cool. They dropped them all at once right from the get-go. Genius. Now, in terms of overall features, look at this outsole. Holy crap, this is awesome. Not only is it a blade-like herringbone style traction, it's aggressive, it's thick, it's durable, it's great for indoors or outdoors. I had no problems with these whatsoever. And then on top of that, look at the molding. So like when we're talking about the lack of support, right? So the other two models have the spring plates in them, which you can see through the soles, like they have the X plate. This shoe doesn't have that, but they've widened everything out, so there's some support there. They're also sitting within the midsole itself, and so there's extra support there. They've carried over the rubber and all of that stuff that would be on the upper of both of these two models. This is what a signature line should be. But anyways, as far as traction is concerned, it was awesome. That's pretty much all you got to know. One of the best parts too is that with all of these blades right here, they're very spaced out, so dust is just not really a problem. Now the midsole and the overall cushioning definitely different from the mainline model, where we're not getting light boost or jet boost or whatever the heck, light strike carriers, all of this other stuff. You're not getting all of those things, but they are using a, I guess, takedown of those cushions by naming it Dream Strike, which is new to me. I don't know if that's something that was introduced in like maybe a previous running model, maybe a more lower price performance shoe. I'm not sure. All I know is that it's used here and it feels okay. I'm not going to say that it's as good as the AE1 or AE2 in terms of overall cushion. However, it definitely reduces the weight by a lot and it still feels very smooth. If anything, I feel like this maybe feels a little bit smoother in terms of overall transition and mobility versus the other two models, mostly because those other two models do have the midsoles wrapped within the uppers and everything like that to make sure that all of the containment and the support, and it's not like overtly bouncy and unstable, whereas this is more traditional. You know what I mean? Like this has got a midsole and an outsole as two separate components. You've got the upper then fixed onto that, so this is like much more like of a regular shoe versus those other two models. Is one better than the other? I mean, it really just kind of depends on what you want. You know what I mean? Like, do you want something like an overlast midsole, which is essentially what these two do? This one exposes it a little bit, whereas this one is like almost completely like just housed and caged within the upper. And by getting those things, you're able to lock down the foot directly on top of the footbed without much shifting or movement. But like I said earlier, they've kind of like fixed whatever issues could have been present with this by making sure that the midsole sculpting goes up and above your foot. So you're inside that midsole either way. So on harsh lateral movements, you're not shifting over the footbed in something like say the Jaw 3s. Sorry, Nike. I know, but you guys did it, not me. So again, for $100, and what I'm assuming will be discounted even further soon enough, super solid. Now the upper is where they're really lending things and pointing towards like those original two models. I think that it's a great blend of both. You have the rubber caged sidewall, much like the AE1, and then you've got the serrated, exposed, I think these look like gills, but like, you know, the ventilation points and things like that, those are carried over directly from the AE2s. This is great. The only thing that I could say is like kind of weird is that Tony the Tiger toe looking thing right there. But again, now those rubber sidewalls, just like on the previous two flagship models, do exactly the same thing. They're for lockdown, they're for durability, they're for support. They allow for airflow as well. When you look inside of the shoe, it's basically all textile everything. So while it's not gonna be the most ventilated thing, it's better than nothing. And there's also one of those little like elastic bands slash what I call bungees on the tongue. And that's to make sure that these tongues don't like fold over one way or the other, which was a problem with both models, both signature models. The overall fit is probably the only thing that I would complain about, and it's not so much of like a major complaint, but it's something that like I don't love personally, but just the toe is like very tapered down, and so you do get that pressure on the top of your toe. At least I did, much like I did with the AE1s, which is something that the AE2s fix, but then these guys kind of revert back to that. So that's kind of like a bummer and everything, but it's a little bit weird when you're looking at these like from that toe down view. I feel like I'm wearing some Yeezys, like the Yeezy Runner. They're like really wide and fat. They almost look like you're wearing slippers and stuff. It's kind of strange. So yeah, definitely like design language carried through and through, at least Adidas design language. So in that sense, solid. However, I just don't like the way that that toe area feels. It's just a little snug. Will it break in? Yes, but it'll take some time. Outside of that, go true to size. However, if you have a wide foot, try them on in store if possible. I think that they might be a little more snug for you, especially if you wear an orthotic or a brace. Bring those with you to the store so you can try these on, because you might need to go up half a size minimum. And I say minimum because you might need to go up a full size. It just kind of depends on what you're wearing. Now the overall support, like I was alluding to earlier, is damn near perfect, especially for a model like this. The base is super wide, very stable. You're housed within the midsole. The upper is fantastic for containment. There's an internal heel counter, and then you also have the extra layer here with the midsole carrying you as well. I mean, this is just a solid ride. It's a solid setup. It's a really smart design. I dig these. These are sick. Now, with all that being said, what is today's viewer submitted question of the day?
Hey Chris, you often champion takedown models. What are your top 5 takedown models?
First off, I'm glad that you've noticed. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know where you can find these.
Tell me about it, stud.
One of them's right behind me, the Turbulence. Those are a takedown of these bad boys. Let's see, is it technically a takedown if it's a signature? I don't think so.
No, it has to be a takedown.
Okay, are you ready for the takedown? Another one, I'll just say because I said it earlier, but the original, and I emphasize original, okay? Not the retros, but the original Jumpman Pro.
Can we have a couple that you can actually find right now?
Oh, you're talking about like modern stuff?
That's what I was thinking.
You said top 5.
I know, I'm sorry.
Okay, slide in the Son of Glove real quick before I have to switch over to modern shoes.
Three classics from back in the day if you find that are gonna like disintegrate on your feet. Now, what can we find on shelves that are takedowns?
Well, now I need to look because I don't remember everything. One of them might be these. There is the Giannis line too, the Immortality line. I'm not gonna say those are great. It's just that when you get, that's the thing, is that retail price wise, like when you're comparing something like this in the Immortality to the main flagship, not the best deal that you could find, especially when you can go to the outlets and you can find the main signatures or just a top tier shoe like a GT, whatever, or all that stuff. And you could find them for the discount plus the extra 30 to 40% off. So like that would be a better deal, but like not everybody has that option. And then there's always the online sales, all that stuff. So you could find better shoes than this for the overall like price. It's just, you got to really hunt, which is fun, but like you got to do the legwork. This is for like the moms.
Yeah.
You know, like they're trying to buy their kid like a good shoe, but without breaking the bank, they're like, oh yeah, my kid was talking about this. He loves Anthony Edwards and stuff. And so that's what this is for. I think that this is really cool. The Kyrie line right now has the, I'm blanking on the name. I think it's called the Kai Speeds. They're not great either, but like tech, like compared to the Kai model, very good. So like you can go with that, and I guess that's 2. So
are
there's
the All
5.
Cities compared a takedown, even though
All
they're
City, remind me what that is.
leaning?
Oh yeah, but those aren't super cheap though.
I know. That's why I was saying, is it considered?
They used to be super cheap. They used to be like 114, 115. They're like 149 now. Great shoe though.
Okay, 4.
Was it? I thought I said another
You
one.
did this one, Immortality,
The Kai.
and then we just threw in All City. So that's 4.
Okay.
So 1 more.
Help me out here. What are some
I did.
other...
I gave you one.
I know, but like, are there other takedown models?
None that are coming to mind. Well, you got a solid 4.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I said some classics. I feel like we're good.
Okay.
Right? But with all that being said, I think this is an awesome model. So if you were interested in grabbing these for retail, feel free. I don't think that you're gonna be like disappointed or anything like that. However, waiting for discounts is always a plus, but if you need that new thing now, it's not a bad buy. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one. So until then, you guys have a good one.